I'm Jonathan Bates from Off the Block, and we're with Cindy Lewis. And we saw two different matches today. We saw a sweep by UCLA and a five-setter in the nightcap. Let's go with the UCLA match. Was there anything that really stood out to you? Obviously, these two teams played each other earlier in the year. Was there anything that really surprised you?
The takeaway for me is that UCLA serves so well. You know, they're averaging among the highest service errors teams in the country, and they didn't make that many, and I think that threw each off a little bit.
Merrick McHenry, their All-American middle attacker, had a slow start. Why do you think he had that slow start?
You know, I think when you take a look at his slow start, he only got set 7 times. He was 2-3-7. He was hitting negative. You know, I think he just wasn't in his rhythm at all, and plus they might have been camping out on him and had a bigger block than he didn't want, so they went outside, and then when UCLA had to release from the middle, he had some pretty good opportunities.
We were in the press conference after the match, and Andrew Rowan gave his passers all the credit. Do you think that UCLA was a product of the passing, or do you think Andrew Rowan had a really good match?
I think it was a combination of both. I think Rowan set an excellent match, and for him to just be a freshman and set as evenly as he did, I thought he did really well.
And the other player that stood out to me was Ito David, their opposite. Talk about his performance.
Well, I think he set the tone early. He was on fire in the beginning, which kind of took a little away from McHenry too. And then they started having to commit to the right, or wherever Ito was going to go, and that opened up everything else for videos.
In the night match, Hawaii won the first 2 sets. Penn State won the last, or the games 3 and 4, and then Hawaii basically controlled the set. Let's start with the first 2 sets. What stood out to me was Hawaii, or Penn State kind of had, it was kind of back and forth in the first 2 sets early on, and then Hawaii just took control and sets 1 and 2 late. What do you attribute that to?
Well, you know, I think if you look at Hawaii, even when they're down 4 or 5 midway through, there's just never been any panic. And that's what I think. This is a veteran team. They've played a lot of volleyball, and they've played a lot of volleyball together. I think sets 1 and 2, they were completely in rhythm. They weren't making that many service errors, and they just, Tella had all of his options.
And speaking of not panicking, this was their first 5-set match this year, right? And clearly they took control in the 5th set early on and never looked back. They won the serve-receive battle in the 5th set. Was there anything more to winning that 5th set?
I don't think so. I think, as you pointed out in the press conference, you know, Penn State had a couple early service errors that put them in a hole early. And if you're only going to 15, you have a hard time trying to catch up. But I think, you know, to Penn State's credit, they've never been swept this season. And I think they did not want to be swept this season. And when they found the rhythm in set 3, they're like, hey, we can take this to 4, and hey, we can go to 5. And they had been 2 and 2 and 5 setters, and 2 of those going into this match, and those other 2 went 3-2. So, yeah.
You've seen a lot of good serving performances this season, specifically from Hawaii. The performance by Brett Wildman this year, was that the best individual performance that you've seen this year in person?
You know, I think the thing with Wildman's, 3 of his aces, 1's a net roll and 2 hit the baseline. So you got to look where those he didn't ace people, they just ended up, like I said, net roll ace and then 2 that hit the baseline. I think Penn State serving, especially after set 2, really took Tella off the net. He got very predictable, ergo the number of blocks that Penn State was able to put up. I just thought Hawaii was very, very resilient, and they played for each other really, truly as a team at the end.
I'm not going to ask you to give us a detailed preview, but we know that the final is going to be Hawaii versus UCLA. They played before. Hawaii 1 and 4 in Hawaii. I love when you give me the X factors. Who are the X factors? I feel like you probably might go with Chaz again. Am I making a good prediction there?
I think Galloway is definitely the X factor when it comes to Hawaii. If he can pass well early, and they're so focused on the nucleus and Hakas a lot of times. Another X factor would be Voss. They were leaving him wide open, and when Guilherme elevates, they're not going to touch him.
And then what about UCLA? Who's their X factor?
They have so many options, and we saw so many players that Sparrow used tonight. I'm not as familiar with him. I think the X factor could be Rowan, and see how he's going to play in the national championship range.
I will go with Merrick McHenry. I think for me, Rowan has been great. I think Champlin's been the most consistent player. Merrick McHenry actually ended up having a somewhat decent match after the slow start. Can he get to a strong start like he's usually putting up? That's my X factor. Well, thank you for joining us at Off the Block. For all your content, go to offtheblock.com and join us for more coverage tomorrow and Saturday.
Okay. Aloha for now.